Hey folks, today we are going to make a honey glazed chicken. It is so easy to make and so good. Now let's take a look at what ingredients we need. We've got some chicken, we've got some garlic, salt, parsley, butter, pepper flakes, of course honey, pepper, soy sauce, some white vinegar, olive oil, a little flour, and some green onions. Kind of an odd combination, but the soy sauce and the honey really works well together. So, and the parsley flakes, a little bit of color, and the red pepper flakes add just a different level of flavor without adding a lot of heat. We only added just a little bit of that. So first off, let's go ahead and get our chicken ready. So cut off any of the nasties, any of that excess fat that is on it, any excess cartilage. Yeah, right there is a little bit of excess cartilage. That is where the wing is attached. And then we're just going to slice these down the middle, making 2 chicken cutlets. If you're new to cooking and you want to make something to impress others that's just visually gorgeous and taste amazing, this would be a good dish for you to try. So next we're going to tenderize these guys. Not absolutely necessary, but I highly recommend it. I like to put it between sheets of parchment paper and just lightly tap each side. It will flatten it out, but more importantly, it will tenderize the chicken. And because it's flatter, thinner, it will cook a lot faster and a lot more evenly. So do that, and then be sure to sanitize your area you're working, because it is chicken and it very well could have a salmonella. And of course do that for the other 2, but here's a look at what we've got. These nice thin chicken cutlets. So go ahead and add your kosher salt. Nice pinch of kosher salt on all of them. I like using kosher salt because it lets you really control how much salt that you get on each piece of meat. And I really prefer salting directly on the meat as opposed to anything else, like putting it in the flour that we're going to bread this in or seasoning afterwards. The salt will start to draw out moisture in the chicken. Same thing for steak. You know, you put your salt directly on the steak, let it rest for a minute or 2, 30 minutes for steak maybe, and it draws out a lot more flavor in the long run. So salt and pepper, nothing really complicated here. Now we add some olive oil. This is going to work as a binder for the flour. So nothing special there. And then just go ahead and put your chicken breast directly into the container of all-purpose flour. Nothing special here, just regular old AP flour. And remember, a salt's already been added to the chicken directly. Some people like to add the salt and your herbs into the flour, but that works in some cases, especially when you have like an egg wash or egg, using that as a binder. But we're wanting a very thin breading here, so work it in every crack and crevice, and then just shake off the rest. Of course, do that for the other 2, and let's go ahead and get our pan nice and hot. Now we'll add some olive oil, and then we'll go ahead and throw in a few pats of butter. And we're going to let that butter melt. And don't be afraid to fry at high heat. But when you have your butter, warm it up before you really put the heat to it. But when you're frying, you need a lot of heat to push out the moisture inside the chicken. So the chicken is steaming and pushing against the oil. If the oil can enter into the chicken, then you get soggy chicken. So you need that high heat. So after 4 or 5 minutes, go ahead and turn those. And Rule number one of frying: never, never, never crowd the pan. Repeat after me: do not crowd the pan. So, had to do this in 2 different sessions. So, fried the other 2 cutlets. Now we're going to add some garlic. I like using a garlic press because it crushes it, releases a lot more of those oils, gets it a lot finer than I could ever chop it. And this one's being kind of a little pain today, but that's all right. We're just going to crush them, throw them in. At this point, I reduced the stove down to medium because it was on high. Again, don't be afraid of high heat when you're frying. You need that. Just going to scrape off the excess there, and a lot gets trapped in that little cylinder, so just take that out, throw it in. Give that a good stir. And remember, garlic can burn pretty quick, so take it off the heat if you need to. And remember, we've already reduced our heat down to medium. Next, we're going to add, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 cup of a soy sauce. The flavor of the soy sauce I really like, so if you want to add a little bit more to that, knock yourself out. A couple of tablespoons of vinegar. I'm using white wine vinegar. Use whatever you want, red wine, whatever. Doesn't really matter here. And then here are a few flakes of red pepper. Don't go overboard with this. You can ruin a dish very easily. So we want the flavor, we don't want the heat in this case. And not necessarily, but I like using some green onions. This adds a little bit of contrast, and it really works well with this dish, and we're going to save a few for a garnish as well. Just a few shakes of some dry parsley, and now the magic ingredient, a 1/3 cup of honey. So fill up your measuring cup, dump it out, and then I actually put this in the microwave for 5 or 6 seconds to heat it, to get the rest of it out. And that's going in nice and thick. So go ahead and get that stirred in, and we're going to start to reduce this glaze. There goes the rest of my honey after heating it. I wish you could smell this. The combination of the green onions and the soy sauce mixed with honey just is awesome. So go ahead and put your chicken back in. And notice that we only have 3 cutlets now, but we started with 4. Somebody ate the other. Now, we're going to reduce this glaze, so just let it simmer. This is going to take maybe 10 or 12 minutes. And periodically, just get a spoon out and just spoon some of this glaze over the top of the chicken. We really want that flavor to work in. And after, I don't know, check it. It's going to depend on how hot you have your stove, but when it starts to glaze like that, where the glaze starts to caramelize, go ahead and flip it over. That is the sugars and the honey caramelizing, and that is some good stuff. So notice how the glaze is greatly reduced there. There's just not much volume left. It's almost becoming a syrup at this point. So thank you guys for watching this. And again, if you're new to cooking and want something to really impress your guest that is really easy to make, this is really something you should consider. So we're going to plate it up. I just cooked some brown rice, some instant brown rice, and steamed some broccoli. Put that on top, garnish with some of those green onions. And look at that, that's just gorgeous, folks. And then we drizzle some more of this glaze on top, and it's absolutely incredible. I hope you guys enjoy it.